Well, welcome everyone. We hope you're having a great kickoff to your WaysConf experience. We're here to talk AI, specifically navigating the AI product revolution or how to turn change into a competitive advantage. We'll be discussing what is essentially the most strategically intense environment in the last few decades in tech. It's reshaping how products compete, how quickly market dynamics change, and essentially how we keep our advantages. So I'm joined by two product leaders who are navigating these changes in real time, so I'll hand it over to them to introduce themselves.
Hey folks, I'm Tamaio Flores and I'm a product lead at Coupler.io. That's a data integration platform, and now we're introducing a bunch of different AI features. So yeah, have something to say about this topic.
Hi everyone, my name is Greg. I lead a few product teams. I'm a serial founder, as we discussed. So I basically lead SaaS teams. I'm whatever it takes in those projects. So I'm product manager when I need to. I'm focused on more like an experience and UI side of things. So, but I have probably experience in all of these things, as you might imagine, as a founder. So I'll try to give my insight.
Nice. Before we get into it, I just want to say that this panel and this discussion will be open for questions throughout this session. So if you can think of anything you want to ask our panelists, we're open to it. We'll be making several pauses throughout the session so you can get your questions in. But let's kick it off with what's changed and what's different. A year ago, we all had different plans for our product, what we want to achieve, whether that's building the best features, having the best UX, protecting our technical moats. Greg, let's start with you. What has AI changed? What priorities did you have that AI has basically now made redundant?
Yeah, so in my work, it's very specific because I'm juggling various teams and different tasks, and it basically changed everything, like my attitude to work and the culture in our organizations, which are very small. I try to lead very tiny teams, maybe 8 to 10 people is my optimal. So we are small teams, and AI impacted our work in like in probably all aspects. So the most important one being productivity, and this is what we focus on. But I also lead developer teams, and we completely switched to working with AI as our native environment. Now we even try to implement features with AI first. And I'm not talking about AI features. We basically use AI to boost our work and productivity, and this is our first and foremost thing that empowers us today. But I must say that during the last year, it kind of completely changed how we think about work and how we deliver features as well, and how we serve to customers. So it's a huge change, and I'm in IT for 20 years almost. And to be honest, I haven't been I haven't been in an environment changing that fast, and I haven't been witnessing things like this up to this point. So we probably talk much more. But if you ask about impact, it's unmatched by anything that we had previously.
Okay, yeah, for us as well, we have those two basically things. First is how AI influence our internal work, and then the second one is what we build for customers with AI as well. I've been into AI, data science, and data analytics space since 2017. That was the same year where Transformers, academic paper, arrived that started all of the generative AI hype, basically. So I've seen the second GPT, which was closed for researchers only, and I've seen it hallucinate so freakingly bizarre things. Modern ones are not even close to it. It was hallucinating very bizarre things. And seeing how much it changed from 2020, I guess that was the year for the second GPT, until now, this is just amazing. But me as an adept of classical machine learning as well, and those things that have been around not for just a couple of years, but for tens of years, I can say that this space is changing faster from the hype perspective and not so fast from the real thing. You might have seen that MIT report saying that a lot of companies are not having a lot of advantage from AI from the enterprise perspective, but from the personal one, many of those people working in those companies, they do leverage those tools and they do have this. And this is, I guess this is alike in not only in big companies, but in smaller ones. So getting back to us, as a data integration platform, obviously we use AI internally for us. We're using this in product and design. We're using this also in development work, of course. We're using it to help our support people to find things. We're using it for many, many things, basically. And then we are also building features for customers. Our main customers are data analysts, marketing analysts, small business owners, e-commerce managers, so pretty diverse audience. But what is similar for them is they are not so tech aware. They are sometimes afraid that AI will take their data, so security questions. They are also having questions about what I can get from it, like how it will give me the right recommendations and things. But they are questioning this. They want to see those kind of things, even though we are a bit ahead of the curve and we need to educate our customers, but still. So yeah, I agree with Greg. The impact is unprecedented, but as a person being in the data space for quite some time, I can say that it was expected. Like this acceleration was expected, and well, at least to me. But still, I'm quite skeptical to what it brings us in the end.
Perfect. So we touched on a hot topic right from the get-go, which is AI hype. Let's talk a bit about what are the differences between AI hype and product reality in your organizations. What's the gap? Greg, you mentioned your workflow has completely changed, so guide us through it. Do you see those gaps? Do they overlap, and what's the situation like?
Yeah, I'm to be honest, I'm not affected by hype that much anymore. So I don't follow the things that might be surfacing. I'm active on X. I'm kind of like, I'm a lurker more than active, you might say. But basically, those things on X are on my feed, especially are from people who basically build technology, build AI, and I'm trying to see the first person view of how it's emerging and developing. So I don't see that. I do see hype, like in terms of that, but it's not the hype that probably most of people see in social media, on LinkedIn. I don't believe in many of those. It's like whenever technology like this emerges. However, I do think that it's a different story now. But it's, again, whenever a technology like this emerges, there are many people who want to benefit from basically, teaching it or making it. So in order to sell their products, they kind of need some kind of scarcity. And they kind of need to, pump up the expectations, and they post different stories that we will get out of the market soon, or we will lose jobs. And I do think a lot of people will kind of like lose their jobs. And I have to be honest about it, because I can see how we transform our customer service, like our marketing. Every aspect of what we do is kind of like being transformed, and we do need less people. But we kind of at the very end, if we have more people who are great AI operators, at the very end we will need more people, and we'll just produce better and more outcome and more value. So I know how to address this, but for people who are like just kind of observing the hype, I think it might be scary and worrying, just because some other people want to benefit on that. So I really like encourage everyone to kind of like get to the very root of AI. And I think the best way to not be affected by all the LinkedIn spam is basically to learn and to try to understand AI, to talk with models, to get it like. I basically made it a part of my routine. Last time I got the question from the audience. I hope that you will ask those uncomfortable questions as well. But someone asked me if I talk to AI more than to my wife, and I agreed. I had to be honest with that. So basically, I think that in order for us to not be affected by the hype, which is a wrong, it's not a good thing, because we get anxious, we get a bit scared of it. It's just to work with it and treat it like I say that AI is like water on my desk. If I don't put water on my desk, I never reach for it and I don't drink enough water. But if I have AI at my fingertips and I use Alice, the app that we developed actually first for our internal things and then we kind of shipped it so everyone can use it. So I just press Command-Shift-D all the time and I have D. Now D is extinct from my keyboard. It's not even visible anymore because I press it so often to bring the assistant that helps me. And kind of when I tried to work with it, I discovered that, okay, I understand it better. I'm better than, all the LinkedIn feed that I have. And if you see, posts like, okay, an automation scenario in Nathan, N8N or something like that, that someone gives out for free for people who comment, whatever, you can, I think, expect that it's kind of bullshit and someone wants to monetize on that hype, and you have to be smarter than that, and you have to make your own ways and get acquainted with AI. If you make friends with AI and keep talking to it, you will get great benefits. And this is how we all kind of try to learn how it works. And I think that this is my way of dealing with that.
Okay, yeah, so you've mentioned the LinkedIn hype, and I would like to mention the Medium hype, because obviously I'm subscribed to that, and most of my inbox from Medium looks like top prompts that are killing X, or this new small tool that is supposed to be a huge CRM killer or anything like that. So yeah, this is just amazing how big this difference is, to be honest, between what is perceived and what it can really do. So remember maybe when the OpenAI launched their operator, they were like, oh my God, it will be buying plane tickets for me. It can't even type your name correctly at times. It can't even find where the checkout button is, even though it's huge and it has different color or something like that. So I was like, well, okay, I guess we got the automations in those places where we never thought we will so fast, but we never got it in those places where we'd really like to have it, helping me to create my grocery list or, again, buying plane tickets or things like that, right? So yeah, this hype is huge. I've always been skeptical about this, and I still am, even though we do introduce AI features, but only where it is needed and when we know that it brings real value. Because people don't care about AI, period. They don't care about many new stuff because they care about how much money they will spend on solving this issue, whether it will give them the results that they're interested in, and things like that. So they're not interested in it. And you're saying making friends with AI, I would say make AI your personal assistant. It is dumb a little bit. Yeah, that's true. It cannot do all the things, but it is quite powerful in finding ideas, hypotheses, in searching web. I have 3 different AI tools that I use daily. They're always open on my phone, on my computer. I use Claude for data analytics and most of my product work. I have special projects with prompts, with project knowledge and stuff, so this setup. Then I use ChatGPT for more of psychological questions and some personal stuff, because I found those answers a bit better, and for some coding tasks, small ones. And then I also use Perplexity for search, because for me, nothing beats Perplexity for now, not the search and ChatGPT, not the Claude research, none of those beat them for me. Gemini is also nice, but I just don't have, I guess, a force space for the force assistant. The biggest gap that I see in the organization is that experienced developers, they are even more skeptical than me that those things will help. Most of them do use Cursor, but do not trust it fully, which I totally understand, especially if we're talking about huge code bases like we have. We have tons of lines of codes, and there's no AI system that would be good with that. You need to have small modules, all those domain-driven design stuff, and I guess then it will work. You need to have a lot of additional context and documentation, because this is another big gap, this context. AI may have some kind of the world model, but it would be a general one. It was taught from the books, from the articles on the internet, from Reddit, from X, from whatever, but it doesn't have those specific context that you have while you're working. So this is the biggest gap, I guess. And the same happens with clients. They reach for AI insights based on their data, but we don't know any kind of specificity about their company. We need to add additional context. Otherwise, those answers will be just very generic. So adding the context is much harder. I guess this context engineering now even beats the prompt engineering thing. And sometimes they like intersect. Well, you inject context as a part of the prompt, but at times it's just not enough. So you need to add a lot of context. And the last thing is basically people, the general audience, the users of SaaS tools, those small business owners or managers or other people, they do not know how AI works. They see wrong result and they were like, your AI is whatever, it doesn't work. And they don't understand that they need some special skills like they need with any other tool. For some reason, their expectation is very much different than from cooperating with a human. But you should treat AI as an assistant, which is, again, a little bit not so smart as you would like it to be, but it's super fast. It never tires. It throws you ideas at a huge speed, and you need to simply, show some direction to it and edit some context, and then it becomes your workmate. Like for me, all those tools that I've mentioned, they are my workmates that I use daily, all the time, in many, many tasks. So you need to know how to drive this car, basically, and then here you go, you can travel wherever.
But okay, can I just say that? Because there is few things, I agree with most of the points, but together I don't agree, because it makes AI, for me, less relevant than it really is, but that might be because of those tools that you mentioned. So basically, the value that we get from AI, and you mentioned that it cannot even know where the button is. So I have completely different experience with that, and that might be because we are using it we are using more tools that are coarse, or basically we work a lot with cloud code, and this is the native environment of our work. So I have to say that it's not that shallow for me in terms of it not being able to make, very significant changes to our code base. And I also disagree that it cannot work with a large code base. The biggest problem that I see with my experience, because I can speak for myself, I don't try to give advices, just try to tell and explain maybe how we work, was the shift from the code base that is, you might say, not AI friendly to the AI friendly one. And most of the companies I cope with and try to kind of help with that, because they can see that we get those results. We basically can accomplish a lot more, and AI is writing most of the code for us. So for example, in this assistant that I use in Alice, I don't think that one single line of code was written by human. So basically now we kind of switched to supervising AI and working hand in hand with AI with our code base. And even if that's a large code base, we have some means to make smaller chunks and kind of iterate on the right files, and it's improving, and it's exciting to watch how it copes with this code base. But this happens to work with the data that is specifically tailored to be used with AI. And this is what I see with companies. They try to, and they want to kind of put all the databases to AI and kind of speak to it, and it never works. Of course, like you mentioned, the context window is small for AI, and it's very difficult to, if you try to, because many people do, if you try to put 50 files, PDFs with hundreds of pages and ask AI about anything, it will hallucinate. You won't even know, because it's the greatest bullshitter of all times. It will bullshit you into believing that this is really true, while it's not. It's not in those documents. And only if you ask 10 times, okay, where's the reference? Where can I find it? And you go to the specific sentence that it gives you, and then you search for the document, and you cannot see that the sentence is there. Then you say, well, it's not there. And then it say, oh, you are right. Okay, it's not there. But so you have to believe that it's really bullshitting you most of the time of the context window. One exception to that is Google's tool Notebook LM. I don't know if you use it, but if you want to work with files, Notebook LM is amazing. I don't know how they do it, but exceptional. You can put like 50 files of like, bank statements or whatever, and it can give you the exact numbers. So Google nailed it, but I don't know how they do it, to be honest. It's like the sorcery for me right now. But it's just one tool specialized in managing documents and data. And this is not something that can be put at scale in the company. But basically, we find like a lot more value, and we are now working with agents in Claude and sub-agents that basically write the code for us, that manage the PRs for us, that write unit tests for us, that are like accompanying every step on our product roadmap, not only with, like you mentioned, which is really useful, brainstorming and getting some product ideas, operating on them. But I basically use it all the time to get deeper into what we have, into our code base, get some information. And my latest realization is that we can actually create, we can prepare code in a way that even a customer service agent can make changes to the code base when a user requests this change, and this is like an obvious, change to the button, to the text, to the label, whatever. So we are trying to cut the corners so that we don't have the classic PM process, we don't have the backlog, we don't have linear the way we used to use it. We kind of want to shorten it so that we have interaction with customer service. And by the way, all of our customer service is fully automated. I don't know if you've used Intercom's agent for customer service, but Finn is really excellent. So basically, I've never seen, and we try to do it ourselves, and I think it's a sorcery similar to the thing that Google does, because 90% of our support tickets, but this is only provided that you have the docs set up right. So we spent 2 months on creating the right kind of documentation. Then we iterated on this documentation a lot with AI, because AI is actually brilliant in categorizing things. So if you have a chunk of text in the docs, then you give it to AI, and you have a structured prompt that will classify it into label it with tags, label it with the right basically prepare the data so that AI can use it later on, okay? So then in Finn, we had like a 99% resolution rate, because our data is great, our data is correct, okay? And this is completely different data than the one that we had previously. And I mean, it's not different if you take our docs, but it's more robust, but it has a lot more tags to it, it has a lot more, classification data that allow customer agent, like a robot, go and access the very correct data that it wants. So then I'm just going to finish. So from there, we completely outsource it to AI, and customers know that. They know that they are talking to our docs, and they are very happy about it, to be honest. But the next thing is that when they submit an issue, we can actually create even a code. We can go to the code base, we can create a PR, and this shortens the cycle to minimum. And what used to take us weeks, we now do in minutes or hours.
Oh, I have so much to say about this. So I guess the biggest thing here would be when you don't have that code base that is AI ready. Here you have that issue. When you don't have this interface with all of the things filled from the perspective of AI. So people were saying about user experience and then developer experience, and now they say about agent experience, because you're supposed to have some kind of markdown files or something like that in each of your repos, or somewhere on your pages, somewhere hidden maybe, for agent to understand what's happening there. If you don't have it, you have errors. And you were saying that you know that AI is bullshitting you, but then most of the lines of the code is still written by AI. So how does that?
Yeah, that's actually a great point. Yeah.
Yeah, and how does that compare? And again, you're saying Finn is closing lots of your support tickets. It is closing general support tickets. We are integrated with, I don't know how many tools today. It used to be 160 last week. Not sure how many tools we have today, because we're constantly adding new tools. So you have questions about some specificity of Facebook Ads API. You have questions about some things within the Google Sheets that were created by the user that are like have some unique structure. Fin will never help you with that kind of stuff. Fin will help you with general things, right? But if like you have a lot of unique support questions like we do, we don't use those kind of agents because they tend to lower the satisfaction of our users in the support.
I have an argument here.
You know that it depends, like basically.
Well, yes, but this is like developers used to say that the code outputted by ChatGPT or whatever we use now is kind of like lame. They can write better code. Okay, so I asked them to take their best code that they have, put it in the prompt, and say, rewrite it for me, okay? And then it'll output the same code. And I say, okay, is this good or bad code? Yeah, it's good code, but it's basically the same that I prompted, okay? So I say, okay, right, you are right, because the output that you get is basically based on the input that you give. And most of us is kind of like, it's trash in, trash out. And I strongly disagree that it will give you. I agree. I disagree that Fin won't resolve those questions. It will, but they have to be in the context. So you don't have them in the context, and you can create MD files on those cases. We actually have a system that kind of is creating those different scenarios that people can do in our apps without even them doing. And writing specs for that, and writing docs for that, and so that and flagging them for review as well. So it really depends. It's not true that it cannot do it, and it won't do. It will do it if you have the right docs in place. The problem is that we are not used to working this way. Okay, and this is a cultural change in organizations. And if you want to create data-first organization that relies on AI heavily and it doesn't hallucinate, you can definitely do it right now, and it can help you with so many things. But the problem is with what we kind of give as an input. And if we just casually open ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT, okay, write a spec for me, it will obviously return bullshit. So the more you put in, the more work. Actually, it's like this: the more work you put in, the better result you get at the end. And to counter the argument that I said that AI is bullshitting me, so what about the code? It's an easy answer, because the code is different. It can be tested, okay? So thanks to AI, we are now able to write so much more tests, unit tests, and to test the code base, to make it more secure, to make it go through all the checkpoints, and we couldn't before, because first, we didn't have the resources, but the second, we didn't have people who would comprehend, because it's beyond comprehension, the whole code base or even pieces of the code base. Now we can automate we never had so many tests. Now we have tests for everything, and AI as agents can run so many different scenarios in our software that I can say that every problem, every hallucination in the code base can be eliminated this way. So we kind of get the tools to help us with that. And the same goes for like specs and documentation. You can artificially even generate those use cases, and if you have great prompts in place, you will get great results. The problem for most of people that I try to start working with is that they really casually use it. So they open Claude, they put something, and they expect result. They already know that if you put more effort in it, if you make the conversation longer, at the very end you will get some better results. But then at the end they say, yeah, but I had to spend so much time on it, so probably I could do it without it, okay? But that's, we work completely differently. We have Alice as an app that we work with, and Alice has pre-built assistants that they already have those prompts in place. And with Alice, you can also use skills. So let's say we have an SEO as a, customer support assistant that we have. And this support assistant knows everything about our company that is related to customer support. And then it has specific skills that are another prompt that we can stack together. So basically, if you ask this assistant, let's call her May. If you ask May, okay, what can you do? She will tell you that she can, answer the customer service questions and stuff like that. And then if you have a specific question, you use another prompt, like a reply to the question, and it stacks this prompt on top of May. So we kind of have multiple steps of this ladder. Great reply that is tailored to whatever we need. And we have probably thousands of prompts like this that are pre-built in our tools, and no one is going to Claude and asking random questions. It's like it never works for us. So it's kind of a different thing.
Cool. Sounds cool.
Okay, we've covered a lot of things on how to maybe get some operational gains, but let's take a step back. Let's talk a bit about competitive advantages. In this era where so many companies are being disrupted overnight due to many factors, one of which of course includes that their technical or moat in general were not as strong to begin with, how do we compete in this new era? How do we find our competitive advantage?
Yeah, I'd say that AI per se is never enough. Again, speaking of the niche we're in, those data integration tools, you're supposed to have tons of different integrations. Of course, you can leverage some of the outsourced ones, but then the greatest advantage comes not from just bringing the data from one source, but from blending the data from different sources. And this requires some expertise, right? AI doesn't always have that. It may for some of the sources that have more docs, that have more Reddit threads and things like that, but then still expertise is something that is needed here. And also another thing would be, I guess, this experience. Like, we've been on the market for a couple of years. We have already understanding of how our users are using app, what is it that they are trying to get, what is that data, and what are those workflows, and we have lots of different stats, so we leverage on top of that. It's not that we are adding AI standalone things, we are adding it on top of things that we already have, and together this blend gives this advantage. I'm not sure about AI. Let's imagine that there would be a competitor that just jumps into this space and only integrates like those different data sources based on the API docs that it read basically, and those connectors were created by AI. I guess that's going to be a lot of small things to figure out, because those APIs were built by humans. Some of them are not documented, so you need to go and try them and do other things with that. So I guess those would be two, like this experience basically, and that we're building on top. It is impossible to create an app like ours overnight. It would take much more time basically.
Yeah, my short answer is, build more infrastructure and less like less of a fancy feature that anyone can replicate. At the end of the day, of course, it's not about using AI or not using AI. Of course, we have to all use AI, and at some point, those companies will outcompete those who don't. First, we have to start from ourselves, so use it for productivity and for our features. But it's not important for users, like you said. I completely agree that basically, no one cares. Nobody cares if you use AI or you don't use AI. Customers doesn't care. Okay, so what you need to do is basically change the organization so that you can have this shift towards AI, because companies who are using AI will outpace you. But at the end of the day, like if like you said, the competitor shows up with a feature, you still have what it takes, because you still have the market, you still have the traction, you still have the trust, you still have all of those things that cannot be taken away by one feature, and you can easily just not be silent about it. Speak about it. Take some customers into service and build those features. And you have to move faster. But I think that building products is very different now, and we have to build more infrastructure products. Those are really hard to copy. Those are really hard to basically just resign. If you take a look at Apple, I think they are lagging behind for a few years now. lagging behind. They're not innovating as much as I loved Steve's innovations, but what they have is they kind of have hooked in. Like if you have AirPods and iPhone, then you are stuck. Like it's so natural that you are in the ecosystem and you cannot go out. So we have to create and build more products like this. I'm trying to do it. All of my products, they kind of focus on API, infrastructure, and this is the core product. And then you can add some shiny features on top of that, which is great because you can add them very fast. And features are really easy to replicate. It's nothing that cannot be rebuilt. But the hard thing about product is building brand and building trust. And this is what we have to focus on because otherwise we are kind of screwed. But to be honest, I'm more worried now. I think that, in terms of I'm excited because it's worrying for big players. Because I think that companies like, Salesforce or those huge players, they do have trust, they do have customers, but slowly, I can see the potential for upcoming companies who rely on AI heavily, who has this AI culture, and they start innovating right now to outpace them at some point. It's now I can see that it's possible. I've never seen it possible before.
Yeah, well, HubSpot started like a Salesforce killer, but now, there's going to be someone who's going to kill HubSpot by providing new shiny AI features and a plugin to integrate your data from HubSpot. That might be enough, to be honest, depending on the use case.
And people started doing that themselves, right? They started from building those little dashboards for themselves. You can go to Replit. It's a really cool software that lets you, for example, create a dashboard of any kind, and you can source data from anywhere. This might be also your.
Oh wow!
I'm doing that. We don't use that kind of software anymore because we prefer to build our own, prompt our own dashboards. Actually, it's funny, but I think that this will start from there, from this initiative of individuals basically to make their work a little bit easier, not to work with those huge companies that requires 10 consultants to implement things in the company because they just need a simple fucking report, right? So basically they will do it themselves. They will connect to sources like Stripe, whatever, and I do it. I build my own dashboards and everyone builds their own dashboards.
Yeah, for that you need to know what is it that you want. And this is usually the big question because people can't actually say what is it that they want to see as a result. This is what we see from our customers. So they want their business to excel, but they're not sure what kind of the decision they should make. That's why they're not sure what kind of data they should have underneath. And that's where we build our expertise with figuring that out.
Not knowing what you want is an ignorance at this point, I have to say.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying ignorance is good. Is that something I observe constantly?
I know, but we have to. But this is the harsh truth is that those people will lose their jobs. It's if they don't get much better holistic idea of the work that their company do and basically the value that they offer to customers and where the business is. So maybe a nice proposal would be I try to do it. So I try to, if I, for example, implement an AI feature, I always tie it to the P&L. I always try to, my new KPIs are when will I get the value from this feature? Because from what I see in many different apps that I use is that they just implement AI, they just throw AI at any feature and it's kind of useless. They still pay for that because it's token burn. So it's pretty expensive, but at the end of the day, it's really not helping their product much or customers don't see the direct, value they get from it that they include in the price. So what I try to do instead is if I deliver an AI feature, I always try to have a metric that will at the end let me add this and that many dollars to the P&L driven by this feature. And this is something that I do all the time right now. So I tried to do it with the features in the past as well. So I tried to estimate and say, okay, if we implement that and that many customers want it, this will be that many hours. I think it will be we'll get return from this feature in a year, and then we'll start earning if that continues to. But now I'm even more obsessed about it, because I know that with AI we keep sending, and the modern companies, they will send all the data every time to the model. Okay, so the model gets some kind of like information in the background and can process it. So we do it all the time as well, but this is token burn. It's quite expensive for us at this moment. So yeah, I really tried to. Every feature is very tied to P&L and to how much we earn from that feature.
Yeah, we come other way around in this regard. We're building AI integrations, so you get your data in your cloud. So you pay for your cloud. We only pay for the storage of your data and for getting it, like MCP servers and stuff, those kind of connectors, which basically helps. But yeah, we're seeing a ton of new users that are coming and building those AI integrations. So they're interested in getting their data from the sources, whatever, Google Sheets or whatever it is that they have, and put it into AI and talk to it. And those were users who never had before. Those are like companies like yours, new AI first companies that still are doing marketing, still they have some sales, they still have finance, and they want to see their data in one single tool that they use.
Thank you. I think it's a good time now to open it up for questions. If anyone has any questions for our panelists, that would be fantastic. If you do have a question, please raise your hand. If you don't have anything right now, you can think of something before you do that. We can maybe get into let's call it a last wrap-up questions before we get into some audience questions. So in this new AI era, what conventional product management and product wisdom in general do we need to abandon to move forward properly?
Oh, it hurts me to say this, but any kind of long-term strategies, I guess, because we used to have a strategy, and then MCP protocol became widely available, and then we're like, okay, we should hold some of the things that we're doing and build those kind of integrations because our competitors are not there yet, and we can see this might be a huge possibility for us. So we've stopped some of the work and started this, and we don't have any kind of a long-term strategy. We're just adjusting on the go, which is hard, of course. We're adjusting on the go, and some new things gets released, like dev mode by ChatGPT, and we're like, okay, so today you do this, we need to integrate, and by the end of the day, I integrated and I've seen it work. Okay, cool, we're releasing that. So that kind of iterations become so quick that we ship some of the small things like in a couple of days only, even though our product is quite big, but still we do this because those are like new things and they are discussed just right now, and we're also throwing on top of that, okay, so hey, we also have this just right now, like on those Reddit threads, for example, and stuff. Another thing would be, I guess, traditional promotion of your products. So now this, we used to have search engine, now we have like artificial intelligence, whatever optimization where ChatGPT recommends you some stuff. And we're seeing this channel is rising among the channels that bring new users to us. This one is rising and the conversion is quite good as well. So we need to optimize for that as well, more on the marketing side. And I guess another thing would be things that used to be competitive advantages sometimes are not. So we need to think of some other ones, like expertise still is, for example, and that experience still is. But having tons of money, not the case anymore, or having this huge brand at times not the case anymore if you fit like some very narrow need of the customer, and it doesn't go to Google, it goes to ChatGPT and asks this question, and it sees this new shiny thing pops up, and it goes there and uses it instead of big competitor, for example.
And just a quick follow-up on that, you said roadmaps maybe not as relevant. What's the time horizon when you're looking out, when you're planning these days?
I don't know, like couple of months.
Couple of months, yeah.
That's a detailed one, and then a very vague one. I guess I have some kind of detailish roadmap until November this year. That's like in details, and then it gets vague, you know.
Yeah, I agree. We don't do roadmaps anymore, and we don't plan that far in advance. Apart from like the big vision that we have for the product. So I think that this is most important than ever, so that you kind of like, you get the sense that we want to accomplish XYZ in the next, like, you know, foreseeable future, in the next year or 2 or 3, and you basically push toward those goals, because I can see that easily if you abandon the roadmap, you can like lose the feeling of everyone, you know, rowing in one direction, which is very, very difficult problem now. But I think that to answer this question, I think that we should safely assure that we might really want to abandon everything that we know up to this point. The more I think of it, I pretty much guess that if we leave the intuition, if we leave the experience, and we still have it, you know, months and years working in products, and we abandon everything, like tool-wise, work organization-wise, cycles, you know, roadmaps, stuff like this, and try to really think of how it could be if this all doesn't exist, you know? And with the new tools and with AI approach, how can I steer my company in the right direction in this new, like, very demanding times? I really think that, you know, product knowledge and PM knowledge is kind of like aging like milk, not like wine nowadays. So you have to, yeah, you really have to, like, it's exciting times. I think that product people are like the ones that can benefit the most from this whole, you know, revolution, because they already like they know different things. They are M-shaped or T-shaped. They know different areas. They can manage the chaos. Basically, yeah, chaos. Managing chaos is what is kind of new role, and product managers are the best to embrace it. Okay, so
should be at least.
Should be, yeah. But I believe that they can save companies from those pitfalls that we talked about. And I really think it's very interesting that those people can be heroes in their companies. So the broader the knowledge, you know, because people, they used to tell us that, you know, expertise is important. Now we know it's not, okay? So now we know that the more specific thing, the more probable is AI will take it from us. The more, you know, if you're a hardcore developer doing this one thing, it's probably AI can do it for your employee now. So usually I say that product people are really the best. It's the best chance for product people to benefit from this, but they have to leave behind everything that they used to do, like process-wise, procedure-wise. Still, it's great because they have experience, they have intuition, they have everything it takes, but they have to embrace new things. We kind of struggle with that. We built like an education program right now. It's called AI Product Heroes. It's built by one of the companies that I help, Brave, and they like in the curriculum we have things that when we talk to product managers they never heard of it. Like it's like completely new. This is the first time I see that, you know, we used to learn so many things, but they were kind of like similar all the time. But now they enroll in a course and they don't know what Claude Code is. They don't know what Cursor is. They don't know what, you know, most of the things that we put there are. And they have to embrace the whole new tool set and the whole new like approach. But this is what we do, right? We change with technology all the time, so we can adapt. We can change easily. So, but I really recommend to start doing it now.
Yes. Do we have a microphone? We can pass it. Yes. Nice.
Hi. I have a question for Greg. Because you mentioned that you spent about 2 months preparing the basic documentation. And when you're changing so fast and maybe changing tools and new clients, I'm curious, how do you ensure continuous data quality so that you have, so that the AI-based workflow works and you can trust it?
That's a great question. We've spent those 2 months not building the documentation from scratch, rather than building the documentation feedback loop for AI that can be self-sustainable, you might say. So, yes, you need great docs in place, but you also need an ecosystem of prompts, and we have different prompts. For example, one that categorizes the docs, okay? It labels them, and we have predefined labels so that they can go to the database. And then when a customer searches a query, first we go to this vector database, and we search through those. It's a bit similar to the old way of like querying the database, but you cannot put like everything, like we mentioned, you have limited context window. So if you put everything in the docs in the context window, it will obviously hallucinate and it doesn't know the answer. So AI kind of needs to go step by step, okay? So we have, for every article, for example, in the docs, we build summary with AI. And we build 4 or 5 different types of summary, like shorter, longer, blah, blah. And then we load to the context, for example, the shortest one first. Then if it finds that it's relevant, it will go to the longer version. If it finds that it's relevant, it will go to the whole article, and then maybe another article. And this is an agentic workflow. So basically, you have to build a workflow where you have an AI agent going through those docs, through those steps, constantly going through the ladder of those tags, of those summaries, and bringing the relevant results to the context, and then at the very end forming a reply with these different sources. It's a bit complex, but to maintain this loop, you basically also need to have a way to update the docs, like you said, and maintain them, okay? So we also have it like semi-automated. We can generate, like I mentioned, we can build an agent that easily goes through the software and clicks different buttons or ask different questions on its way, as like user would do it. So we can kind of like fake the customer queries and try to build answers using our docs. And if it's not in the docs, we can flag it, and someone has to come. There is a like automatic task on Slack that someone has to pick it up because we don't have the answer for this customer scenario, okay? And then someone builds this and updates the docs. So this is a constant loop that we have AI agents involved in many different steps. And to be honest, like if you think about it, it's not that difficult, but it's quite technical, but it has to. Like if you create the docs and then set it and forget it, you are toast. It's like the process that you have to do is not about writing docs. It's about maintaining the docs and doing this loop that will enable you to keep them up to date. So, yeah. Sorry for the long answer.
Another question? Oh, okay, sorry. We'll get to you as well.
Sorry, I know we're already a little bit out of time probably, but I have a question coming from a very rigid corporate, let's say. I love this idea of, things changing, adapting, using AI and stuff. We come from a little bit different environment, unfortunately. And so you touched on that subject a little bit of, throwing AI just to throw AI, just to say, oh, we have AI, right? So we are facing this problem at the moment where we are asked to design features by leadership, by product management. They don't really make sense for our...
Tomorrow, like what you need to throw AI on top of that, especially if you're corporate, I guess. So yeah, basically what you need your task, you need talent, you need infrastructure, and you need data. And with corporate, you have issues on multiple levels with that. So yeah, you start small, you fake it, basically. And then if you see the adoption rises, then you go full in, I guess, like piloting and things like that. But first, of course, shortlisting those use cases, figuring out if you have infra, if you have data, if you have talent, and if you have some measurable ways to figure out if this new thing is better than the old thing, or, well, if it is a totally new thing, of course it's better than nothing in most cases, but at times it's even worse, so you still need to check.
I can add one practical thing, because as I showed this app that we use, Alice, more and more companies wanted it, and we now are implementing that in few bigger enterprises. So what we managed to come up with was the workflow that usually those are individuals that kind of embrace the change and are excited about AI, not the whole organization. You have KPIs coming from the top, but those people on the top, they don't understand what they want as well. And then So I see this coming from the very bottom, okay? So for example, we implemented Alice organization-wise, and everyone can use it. But we gave them one, we gave them one task. Basically, they have to meet once. They do once a week, like a weekly session. For what they managed to automate with AI. So they have different assistants in the app, and they can create prompts and skills and stuff like this. So when they work, they kind of try to learn to spot repetitive tasks that they could possibly outsource to AI. When they spot something like this, they try to automate it with Alice, and at the end of the week, they showcase those automations to their colleagues. And this works really, really good because it's very practical. So for example, if you have like a social media team, they're writing posts and they manage to automate, for example, scheduling or something like this, okay? So one person did it in like half an hour. Then on Friday, he's showcasing it to all his teammates, and they are like super excited about it because it solves their issue. And he has a way, an easy way to share this assistant to his colleagues, so that everyone can use it company-wise, okay? But it always comes from this one, like you mentioned, one use case, and it requires thinking about, okay, what I do, so maybe it can be automated, maybe it can be handled with AI, maybe it can be outsourced. Many times, at the very beginning when I used AI, I even figured that I'm asking AI to do something for me, and then I do something completely different. I don't listen to what it says. But most of the time, when I go step by step, it's a better process than I try to invent. So this is a mental, change that we have to do. Sorry.
Thank you, Greg. We had a few questions left, but you can find Grzegorz and Veronika after. We have to wrap up so other speakers can get here and present. But thank you, Grzegorz, and thank you, Veronika.
Thank you so much.
And
Thank you so much
enjoy the rest of WaysConf.